Then, in the morning, as I have heard, there were many grim fighters about the gift hall. Their chieftains came from far and near, throughout the wide ways, to gaze upon that wonder, the hated remains. His life parting could never seem a sore point to any of the men who traced the track of the glory torn. How he stumbled on his way thence, overcome in his malice into the mere of monsters, faded and banished, bearing bloody footprints. There the waters welled with blood, a terrible surge of waves, all mixed together with heated gore, the whelming of dreary death. Fated to death, he died the lake, deprived of joys, after he had given up his life in the swampy lair, his heathen soul. There hell took him. They turned home from there, the old retainers likewise, many young ones too. From their happy path, proud they rode their horses back from the mere, warriors on their chargers. There was Beowulf's glory announced. Many kept on saying aloud that neither south nor north, between the seas, across the vast earth, there was no other man under the course of the skies that could be any better of all the shield-bearing warriors, more worthy of the realm. Nor did they reproach their friendly lord any bit, joyous Hrothgar. Rather, he was a good king. Sometimes the battle-bold let their dusky horses leap in their stride, in a contest, to wherever the earthways seemed the most fair, known by choice. Sometimes a thane of the king, a man speech adored, mindful of very many verses of the ancient ways, and remembering a vast number, devised one word after another, bound together truly. The poet soon began to recite with cunning craft the quest of Beowulf, and related mellifluously a skillful tale, exchanging it wordfully. He spoke of everything he had heard told about the courageous deed of Sigmund. Much was unknown. The struggle of the whale sing, the wide journeys, the fades and felonies, of which the sons of men had never readily known, except Fitela by his side, as they were always, when Sigmund wished to speak of their travails, uncle to nephew. Through every hardship, needful comrades. They had destroyed very many of the tribe of giants with their swords. Not too little glory sprung from Sigmund since his dying day, after the battle-hardened slew a dragon, the treasure's watcher. The son of nobles dared to proceed alone under the hoary stone, an audacious deed, neither was Fitela with him. Nevertheless, he was victorious, so that the sword sliced through that many-coiled worm, and stuck it into the wall, the lordly iron. The dragon died through that deed. The fierce opponent had gone in courageously, so that he might be allowed to enjoy the ringed hoard of his own will. He laden his sea boat, bearing bright treasures into the bosom of the sheep, the heir of the will. The hot dragon had melted. That one was widely the most famous adventurer across the nations of men, a shelter of warriors known for his brave deeds. He thrived by them before, since the struggle of Heremod had dwindled, his might and valor. He was betrayed among the youths, sent away to die swiftly in the hands of his enemy. Swelling sorrows had hobbled him for too long. He became a mortal ache unto his people, to all noblemen. Likewise, many a wise man had mourned in earlier seasons over his rash forays. They had looked to him as comfort for their afflictions, that the son of their prince ought to prosper, take up his patrimony, keep watch over the people, their treasures, and their sheltering city, the realm of heroes, the homeland of the shieldings. He became more endearing to all his allies, to the kindred of men. That was the kinsman of Higelac, but his crimes carried Heremod away. Sometimes racing, they paced their steeds on the fallow street. Then was the morning light fully dawned and shining. Many retainers went, bold-hearted, to that high hall to witness that curious wonder. Likewise the king himself, warden of the ring hoards, stepped out of the women's house, glory-fast, and with a great retinue, revealing his virtues, and his queen with him, escorted by her maidens, measuring out the way to the great mead-house. Hrothgar made a speech, going up to the hall, standing on the steps, gazing at the steep roof. flecked with gold, and at Grendel's hand. For this vision may there be given swift thanks to the All-Wielding. I have endured many hated days, many misfortunes at the hand of Grendel. God can always perform wonder upon wonder, the herdsman of glory. It was all too soon ago that I did not hope to expect any cure for my woes for the width of my life. When the best of houses stood splattered with blood, dripping with gold, grief strewn far and wide for every wise man, broad-souled, who could not conceive how they could defend this tribal treasure from its hated foes, ghouls and spectral terrors. Now a retainer has, through the Lord's might, performed the deed which we all could not before contrive to do, despite all our wisdom. What can one say about so great a woman who conceived such a son into the human race? If she yet lives, may the olden measurer have been merciful to her at her childbirth. Now, Beowulf, best of all, I wish to love you like my own son in spirit. Keep this new affiliation well, nor is there anything you will lack, wanted treasures in this world, of what I have possession. Very often for lesser deeds I have made reward, hoard-worthy things of humbler warriors, weaker in conflict. You have outdone them all yourself with your deeds, so that your glory will live on always and evermore. May the all-wielding God requite you with every good, as he has done thus far. Beowulf replied to him, the son of Ecgtheow, By many graces we have performed a courageous work. By fighting, recklessly risking the unknowable strength. I would have wished the more greatly that you might have seen him yourself, the fiend in his fittings, wearied and frightened. I thought to fetter him forthwith with tight bonds on his deathbed, so that he lay here, struggling for life in my hand grip, unless he should relinquish his body. I could not entrap him when the measurer didn't consent, delaying his departure. I didn't apply myself to him strongly enough, my deadly opponent. Too savagely strong was the fiend in his foot power. Nonetheless, he left behind his hand, his arm and shoulder as a life ward in order to make his retreat. However, that wretched thing got little comfort, nor will he live much longer, the hateful harmer enfolded in sin. But agony has clasped him tight in its constraining clutches, in chains of baleful death. There he must await a greater doom, this creature splattered with evil, how the bright measurer should choose to repay him. Then was the son of Ecglaf the more silent in his vaunting words upon these war deeds after the noblemen gazed upon that hand and fiendly fingers raised upon the high roof through that warrior's skill. Every one of those nails, each nail bed, was very much like steel before. The battle-ready heathen's handspurs were terrifying and awful. Everyone said that nothing harder could wish to touch him. No battle-tested iron could wish to weaken that monster's blood-stained and betaloned